Hey Jaden, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm not bad. I'm not bad at all, considering everything that's going on at the moment.
Yeah. So we both have brain injuries. Mine wasn't from birth like yours was. Mine was since I've been 14 years old. I was a passenger in a car crash. What's been the process of you getting used to your having a brain injury in the just every day without dismissing sport for now, just in everyday life, how was it in you coming to terms with the impairments or difficulties you may have encountered with having your brain injury?
I mean, like you said, I got mine at birth. I had two cardiac arrests, which left me with multiple areas of brain damage. And I guess in a way that made it easier for me because I've never known anything different. I've never known life as a able-bodied person. So
Yeah.
in a way, I kind of always forget that I have brain damage. What was especially important for me growing up was I have two able-bodied brothers, and my parents just treated me exactly the same as them all the time. I went to mainstream schools. I just did everything that I wanted to do. And I
Yeah.
think that was really important for me, just to live a really normal life. And even though it took me more time to learn things and to, there's things that I still can't do, like tie my shoelaces. You just find a way to work it out. And like, you just find your own way, and you've got to be really creative.
Yeah.
So I've never really struggled with anything because mom and dad have always just encouraged me, like, oh, find your own way. Like, as long as you can find your way to do it, then that's okay. But I mean, obviously for you, it's been slightly different.
Yeah. When I had the car crash, I was the passenger. I was on the way home from a Barbadian event called Little Bit of Bim because my background is Bajan and St. Kitts and Nevis, Kittian.
Okay.
And I woke up in hospital, realized this isn't my bedroom, so it must be a hospital because when you hear the beeping of the monitors. So I turned to my left and my dad was sitting there and I asked him what happened and he explained. That happened in must have been year 10. My friends from school came to visit me along with the teachers. So I would like to give a shout out to Wheelers Lane Technology College as they did support me very well, especially in my final year of school. I then went through rehabilitation, the children's hospital, community, the QE, and then I was able to return on the 5th of September 2018 in the academy. This time, instead of more being getting to the club, compete, it was more part of my rehabilitation. We'd already paid for a Barcelona football trip, which was going ahead. I did manage to get to Barcelona. I had to have a parent, my neurologist said to me, with me. So my mom came with me. So I got to Barcelona. I'm not allowed to do contact sport, so I wasn't able to play, but I was the captain for my year group for their match on the sideline, encouraging them.
Oh, that's such a great story. I love it. Like, I think it's great that you had a goal and you made sure that you got there. Like, have
Yes.
you always been sporty? It sounds like you've always loved sport.
Yeah, I started with football. I then moved from football to cricket. I've always liked athletics. I just didn't know. I used to watch it on TV and be like, I wonder how you get to be on TV doing athletics. So I was like, Mom. So I asked my mom, was there any athletics clubs? Like, how do you do athletics? How do you do what they do on TV? So she told me that it was Birchfield Harriers. So I was then accepted into the academy. I had missed my first academy session due to a sickle cell crisis, as I have sickle cell disease, a brain injury, and vertigo as my three disabilities. So I had a sickle cell crisis in my arm, so I'd missed the first academy training session. So my coach, Steve Harrison, I want to give a shout out to him as well because he's been with me since I started the academy prior to my crash. But we have a great relationship and he's been with me through this whole, and he still is with me now as my coach. So at first, when I restarted in September 2018, it was just part of my rehab. He then asked me and my mum one training session, have I been classified? Now, me and my mum looked at him lost because we didn't know what classification was. And he said, because I now have a disability, I'm not that I shouldn't, but it's a more level playing field if I'm running with people of the same, what's the word, disability or like-bodied people. So then we investigated the classification, and I had my first competitive race in my classification in August 2019. I was classified as a T38 para athlete, and I came fourth with a time of 15:63 in the 100 meters.
Not bad. I mean, your coach sounds pretty cool, so he deserves his name drop. I like your coach already. But hey, welcome to Paralympics. It's not that bad, eh? It's pretty good. Yeah. I race as a T34, so basically you in a wheelchair. And yeah, I obviously understand all classification and things like that, but to come fourth in your first race, that's pretty outstanding. Like,
thank you.
I'm feeling like I'm probably going to see, when we're allowed to compete again, I'm probably going to see you around, because it's funny, we always cross paths.
Yeah.
We always cross paths, so that'll be good. I can't wait to see you run. That sounds really exciting.
My next classification is this June. So all being well, God willing, I should be running again in June, because I did have a lot of competitions lined up last year, but then they all went out the window due to Corona.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me, I'm in the same place. Yeah. But I'll keep everything crossed for you, because I'm sure it'll go ahead. I am absolutely sure.
Thank you.
So obviously the whole reason we're here is to talk about Make-A-Wish. I mean, how did you find out about them? And most importantly, what is your wish?
My wish is to meet Usain Bolt.
Very good wish. Very good wish.
Yes, my wish is to meet Usain Bolt.
I mean, I've met Usain Bolt, not to rub it in. I have met him. I've raced with him. I was really lucky to be in a relay team with him in 2019. So he's honestly, just be so excited, because he is the coolest guy. He came over and I was in my racing wheelchair, and he was asking me all about it, how it worked. He's definitely not as fit as he was. So if you want to race him, I'm going to say you might have a chance. You may have a chance, because he's slowed down quite a bit. So it's something to think about, food for thought. But seriously, he is hands down the coolest guy I've ever met. So I'm excited for you. I'll come along.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, going back to athletics, you're a sprinter, 100 meters. Do you do the 200 meters?
No.
You don't want to go that far?
I don't have the stamina.
Well, I thought that. I now race up to the 800 meters, so don't let your coach talk you into things you don't want to do, because they'll try it. I started as 100 and I'm now up to 8.
Yeah, I did do the 200 once at Sports Day. I think it was my first one, because I saw Usain Bolt doing it. I was like, oh, can't be that bad. So I thought I'd do it at the next Sports Day.
You have to ask him for a few tips when you meet him.
Yeah, the bend was great. The bend was fine. I got past someone in the bend and thinking, I've got this one. This is going well. To the straight now, and I'm panting for breath, and I see everyone go past me. Oh, it was a shambles.
I'm sure it wasn't that bad. I'm sure everyone was thinking, "Whoa, look at him go!" and then we just forget about the second 100, so it's fine.
Yeah, I didn't pace it the way I should have. I just ran.
But that comes with practice. What's your favorite thing about athletics? About running? Did I tell you my favorite thing?
Yeah.
I've got a few favorite things. So number one, the speed. In the racing wheelchairs, we can, on the track, my top speed is 19 miles an hour. So we can go pretty quick when we want to.
Yeah.
And for me, it's the freedom. I spent a lot of my childhood holding on to adults' hands and being carried around. And I hated my wheelchair. I never really wanted to go in it. And as soon as I got in the racing wheelchair, I was 15 when I started wheelchair racing. So I was quite old. It just gave me a sense of freedom that I'd never had. because I could just go and go and go, and no one could tell me to be careful or to stop or to slow down. Like, ultimately, it's just loads of fun getting out there with my friends when we're allowed and racing. Like, it just gives you this adrenaline rush. So for me, you know, being a Paralympian was never a dream, definitely not being a champion. That all just came with enjoying what I do. So yeah, a few things for me.
Yeah, my favorite thing is the speed, like you say, getting faster, improving, knowing where I started and where I am now, and to just get better and improve. What was the process for you getting in the Olympic team?
In a nutshell, the way you get selected is there's a qualification criteria,
Right.
which is basically just times that you have to hit. You have to be top 8 in the world to get selected for a Paralympic Games. You have to go out into domestic competitions just around Britain and hit those times, and then they'll just look at you on the panel, basically. You have to be classified as well, so you're halfway there. You're doing well.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, like I said, it was never a dream to represent Great Britain. I just really enjoyed the sport. So I had raced as much as I could everywhere in Britain. Started doing quite well. Broke my first world record in 2010.
Oh yeah, how did that feel?
You know what? It felt so. I didn't know I'd done it. So I did the race, came off, was like, yeah, new PB. My coach was just like, yeah, really good race. And like maybe 3 hours later, David Weir, do you know David Weir, the wheelchair racer?
Yeah.
He won like the London Marathon a million times. He came over with this massive bouquet of roses and a T-shirt saying like, welcome to We Are Archer team. And I was like, right, what's this for? And he was like, oh, you just broke your first world record earlier in the day. And I was like, oh, I didn't know. And then I was just really confused because I was like, I feel like I can go faster. So brilliant. So yeah, maybe not the massive celebration that people think it is.
Did they give you enough notice?
Yeah, they give you not loads. You get about 3 weeks notice. So you don't get a lot. You don't get a phone call, you get a letter for the Paralympics.
Okay.
Get a letter in the post, and then you go to like a big trying on day, and the whole team are there, and you go and get mentioned for your kit, because obviously you get a lot more kit. You get opening ceremony, you get closing ceremony, you get formal wear to go to the palace in. You literally get just everything you can think of. I'm looking forward to that hopefully happening this year. Obviously it's fingers crossed Tokyo year, but yeah, it's super exciting. And then if you get there, you might win one of these, maybe. But that's my
hopefully
London 2012 medal.
Yeah.
So they're pretty cool. But yeah, I think I'll see you on a team one day, without a doubt.
Hopefully, thank you.
You seem pretty driven. You seem to know what you're doing.
Thank you.
And when you meet Usain, please just send me a picture or something. Like he's a real poser, so you'll get some cool pictures. And yeah, you'll have to let me know how it goes and tell me all about it.
I will.
How do you do it? Thank you for having me.
Thank you for taking the time to speak to me also. It's been very good.
Absolutely, anytime.